Hi everyone. I know that commas can sometimes seem daunting. They definitely did for me until I discovered the four comma rules. So, as I just said, there are four comma rules or jobs that we can go by when looking at different sentences. So, the first one is separates items in a list. The second is separates extra information from a sentence. The third is connect an incomplete sentence to a complete sentence. And the fourth is to connect two complete sentences with a fan voice. So let's look further into some of these. So again, we have number one, we have separates items in a list. So when three or more items in a list are together, they need to be separated by a series of commas. And there is always one less comma than the number of items in a list. Our examples here are my mom picked up turkey, ham, and cheese at the grocery store for sandwiches. So our items in the list are turkey, ham, and cheese, and we have two commas. And then our other example is she was kind, smart, and funny. Again, our items in the list are kind, smart, and funny, and we have two commas. The next rule is to separate extra information from a sentence. So you might be asking yourself, what is extra information? So this is just information that does not need to be included for the sentence to make sense. So when we look at our examples on the next slide, we are going to ask ourselves, can I cover it with my hand in this sentence? Would it still make sense? Our example is Taylor Swift, one of the most famous country singers, sold out her recent Eras tour. So we have our two commas that are between one of the most famous country singers. So we're going to go ahead and cover up that section with our hand or remove it. And we're going to read it as follows. Taylor Swift sold out her recent Eras tour. So does this sentence still make sense? Without the section of the sentence between the commas, yes, it does. Because it just reads Taylor Swift sold out her recent Eras tour. So we know that this is classified as extra information. Our third reason to use a comma is to connect an incomplete sentence to a complete sentence. So an incomplete sentence cannot make sense by itself. So an example of this is since she was hungry. This doesn't make sense by itself. And then we have a complete sentence which creates a sentence by itself. And our example for a complete sentence is she decided to make lunch. That makes sense by itself. If I walked up to you and told you that, that would make perfect sense and you would have a complete thought. And then it's important to note that when these are put together, they make a complete sentence with the help of a comma. So this is especially important. So whenever the incomplete sentence connects to a complete sentence and is first, we need a comma. So our examples is because she was nervous for her test, Jane studied hard. Because she was nervous for her test is the incomplete sentence, and Jane studied hard is the complete sentence. So we have a comma bringing those two together. And then our next example is although she was not aware of the difficulties to come, she was happy for her next journey in life. So again, although she was not aware of the difficulties to come is the incomplete sentence, and then she was happy for her next journey in life is the complete sentence. Lastly, we use a comma to connect two related complete sentences with a fanboys. So what are fanboys? We have for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Our example for this is Sammy was working on writing her paper, but she knew that her math assignment was going to be extremely difficult. Sammy was working on her paper is a complete sentence. And she knew that her math assignment was going to be extremely difficult is also a complete sentence. So in order to combine these two, we used a comma and but. It kind of acts like a period between these two sentences, but we're just putting them together. So we have our comma and our fanboys to combine these two sentences. So as always, if you need more help, contact the WKU Literacy Center about different class options for the Praxis Core writing. And additionally, there is always Khan Academy for self-studying.